I'm going to spend 100 days in Crimson Desert to answer one question. How good is the game actually?
Shallow, predictable,
disjointed, like stuff was cut from the game.
actively cringeworthy.
We're going to check out every single aspect of the game, from digging out feces with a shovel, stealing the clothes of a priest and infiltrating the church, to even building our own home, investing, and getting a job. Here we go. I spent 100 days in Crimson Desert. We begin walking around our camp, surrounded by our companions. Our group was saying farewells to Giles, a fallen comrade. I poured some wine over his grave as a final goodbye. After that, we had something to eat at the cabin, but then we were ambushed.
Our land, Payloon, has been plunged into chaos.
Here is where the combat tutorial began. The enemies do not take turns to attack. Everything felt visceral. I learned the basic attacks, using the shield, rolling, parrying, all that stuff. The controls were fine for now, although the R1 and R2 special attack felt a bit uncomfortable to press. I ended up getting used to it though. Eventually, the Black Bear leader appeared, Myrden.
I expected better from the so-called protectors of Payloon. Grab him. Here. Catch my breath. Look at you. All this effort, and you still end up bowing to me. Give Gian my regards. Hunt down every last Greymane. Leave none alive.
As my body submerged underwater, something happened. I woke up in a mysterious corridor. This was the platforming tutorial section. The way movement works is pretty much the same as Red Dead Redemption 2. You jump with square and you run with X. But there's this strange precision jump mechanic too, where you can hold L1 to aim and then press square to jump to that spot. To be honest, I've only used it once or twice in my whole playthrough. There's also freeform climbing, just like Zelda Breath of the Wild. You can also crouch manually, and there's this skill, it lets you reflect light with your sword. What I didn't love was the control input. I had to hold L1 and R1 to initiate the pose, then let go of L1 and press it again to focus the light. It was so strange. One thing I want to add is that the devs are super fast putting out updates. They already added tons of tweaks and quality of life changes, and they announced new stuff for the coming months. Another criticism was that the lighting could look a bit weird at times. For example, as I moved through the dark corridor, it was a bit noisy or grainy. In the end, I found myself underwater once more. My arm thing shifted and I was pulled out to the surface.
Greymane? Greymane? Lost in thought again? Why don't we go inside?
This moment felt straight out of Red Dead 2. Just sitting there, looking at the scenery, it was beautiful. This man, called Sebastian, was the one who fished me out of the river. He said that I should have some rest, but before following him, I observed the fisherman, which let me learn how to fish. I was missing a rod though. Thankfully, there was one between some destroyed boxes. I also grabbed some goods. These could be packaged and loaded into wagons to be sold at trading posts. We'll delve into this later. Here, I found out I could carry barrels over my shoulder. I ended up fishing for a bit at the river, but I was not good at it. The line snapped and the fish got away. I finally followed Sebastian. He told me that I should pay a visit to the local tavern. I could find some useful info there. But then things escalated. Some men showed up demanding money from Sebastian.
Look, I already paid you.
We're not asking, we're telling.
We'll beat the interest out of you. Or make your maps go up in flames. Your choice. What are you gawking at? Today will be your last.
With that taken care of, Sebastian suggested we ride to Hernand together. There were a couple of horses nearby. As we traveled, he told me how things were falling apart, with bandits everywhere, guards stretched thin, and the townspeople suffering. I tried to listen, but honestly, I was distracted by the world around me.
The view from the bridge is absolutely breathtaking. It'd be a shame to just hurry past. Let's take it slow. We deserve a little serenity every now and again.
The landscape was beautiful. This game brought me back to playing Red Dead for the first time. Eventually, we arrived at Hernand. We said our goodbyes, and just like that, Chapter 1 began. I was given a small tent in a traveler's camp, a place to rest, store my items, and recover. For now, this was my home. There were a lot of dogs here. I was able to pet them, which gave me some trust with them. I've seen clips online of the kind of armor you can give to pets. It's amazing. You can gain trust with people too. It's especially useful with vendors since you can unlock new things to buy that way. I interacted with the people around the camp, listening to their conversations. The big difference with Red Dead 2 is that you can't respond or antagonize in any way. But you can learn useful info, like recipes or rumors of hidden weapons, for example. When I tried approaching the gate to the castle, the guards stopped me.
Do you have any idea what's past this gate? You can't just stroll in there, dressed like that.
I needed to get some proper attire if I wanted to get inside. So I got on my horse and started riding towards the town, taking my time to explore. I came across a homeless man, but I couldn't give him anything since I didn't have a single coin. Next, I found a notice board where I could pick up requests. You could actually inspect the papers in first person, even flipping them around, just like Red Dead. One of them was from the equipment vendor, who asked for someone skilled with a pickaxe. Another one was from the town butcher, who asked for help preparing a special dish for an important guest. When I opened the world map, it was massive. This game does not hold your hand. You can spend hundreds of hours discovering new things by yourself. The main objective told me to go to the tavern, and so I did. There, I found myself in an arm wrestling competition. It was a mini game where you had to quickly smash the button and win a quick time event.
Back into it.
I found it funny that this was part of the main story. It was so out of context. The next objective was even stranger. It was just giving a coin to an old homeless man. No explanation.
I've got used to the indifference. Well, that's nothing anyone should grow accustomed to.
When I handed him the money, he gave me a strange key.
When the time comes, the key shall guide you. Wait, what did you mean?
Right after that, a voice was coming from the sewers, asking for help. I opened the trapdoor and went down a ladder, grabbing random items along the way. I had no idea what was actually valuable, so I kept grabbing every jar I came across. After some quick platforming, I found the noble asking for help.
He was right about you. Here, you'll need this. Care for those around you, as you have done for me.
I have no idea what's going on here.
What did you mean?
The next objective says to speak with the child. What child? And why? Anyways, I can assure you, the game is completely different after you finish these quests. But I want to show you the whole picture. I kept exploring the sewers, and thanks to that, I found a chest with the helmet I could use. Once outside, I started looking for this kid, when all of a sudden, tons of cats ran into the street. Here, I was able to carry them, pet them, and just walk with the kitty on my arm. 10 out of 10. I finally found the kid. She asked me to get her cat down from the roof, so I climbed up and carefully moved her on the rooftop to get the kitty.
Thank you! If you ever visit my town, come say hi. Make sure you come visit.
Wait, where is your village?
The kid left behind a strange pendant. Now, the next quest was to help some distressed villagers. As I arrived, I saw how one of them fell off the roof.
Can't you do a single bloody thing right?
I offered to help, grabbing the broom myself, climbing up and aiming exactly at the correct spot. As a reward, they gave me a Hernandian attire. These new clothes were exactly what I needed to be allowed through the gate. Before heading there, I examined the key the homeless man gave me, and it started glowing. I also came across some kids in an alley and I was able to play rock, paper and scissors with them. This was not part of the mission though, just an open world thing you could do. Back at the gates, the guards let me in this time.
Everything seems to be in order.
You may enter.
I went inside the castle and used a strange key to open a door to a room. Here, I looted a chest which had an abyss artifact and a portal appeared on the wall. I could look over the horizon. The view was insane. I stepped onto a platform on the floor and learned about the Abyss Nexus, which were basically fast travel points I could activate. I continued towards the tower in front of me.
Ah, you're finally here. He's waiting for you. This power will help you get inside.
That talking bird gave me a new skill. Axiom Force. It let me grab and move stuff around. I used it to solve a puzzle by rotating some mechanisms. This opened the doors to the tower.
Ah, I've been waiting for you.
You're that beggar.
I am Alustin, and this is the Axiom Archive. It is a repository of the universe's grand designs. Why did you summon me? There are beings who've brought chaos to your world. You must restore the balance before it's too late. I don't know what you mean. Such a grand undertaking begins with small acts that will have profound effect on the fate of your world.
I was now in front of a skybridge gate. As I went through it, I had to use Axiom Force to align and rotate a device. This restored the bridge. The view from here still blows my mind. This part involved tons of jumping, climbing, and moving platforms. In the end, there was a puzzle I had to solve. I used Axiom Force to move some floating cubes to some pedestals. Then I unlocked a new skill called Force Palm. It was a charged strike that could be used in combat to lower the enemy's defense. After aligning a square piece, I used the new move to push it in place. This activated another mechanism where I had to climb to the center and use the palm move once again. Finally, the bird returned and transformed into human form in front of me. She was the White Crow, a guardian of this place, and also the same woman I rescued in the sewer. As a reward, she gave me the power to glide.
Now, take flight. The world is yours to explore.
Chapter 2. The Golden Greed. We're back in the town of Hernand. As I took a look at the pendant from earlier, an energy started flying towards a tower in the distance. I needed to check it out. I made my way to the building while holding a stray cat in my arms, because why not? And at one point, I came across a soldier who needed help. He told me about bounty hunting. I could get paid by bringing in wanted criminals. So I approached a notice and picked it up. I love that I could flip the paper and actually look at the thing. The target was a man named Jeffrey, last seen around Hernand. I will get half the reward if I kill him, so it was best to deliver him alive. As I explored the town, I found even more bounty notices. There were a lot. I also spoke with the giant, who turned out to be the town's equipment vendor. He asked me to bring him some ore. I kept exploring, getting to know every merchant, finding things like cooking recipes lying around. The world was full of small interactions and details. Eventually, I actually found one of my bounties, Jeffrey. I tackled him, hit him a few times, and managed to tie him up. I carried him over my shoulder and started looking for a place to turn him in. But that's when things went wrong.
Where do you think you're going?
A guard shoved me to the ground. Why?
Where do you think you're going?
After that, I couldn't pick Jeffrey up again. Every time I tried, I got pushed away. I even tried using Axiom Force to see if I could pull Jeffrey closer, but no luck. While all of this was happening, I noticed a bird landed on my shoulder with a letter on its beak. The message was from the White Crow. It basically was a reminder to activate and use the Abyss Nexuses, the fast travel points. I ended up abandoning this bounty altogether and moving on to the watchtower. As I got closer, I saw peasants running away. The building had been taken over by bandits. At first, I tried fighting with my fists, but it went terribly. I got destroyed. So I switched to my bow and started taking them out from a distance. From range, it was incredibly easy. They barely reacted, but in melee, it was the complete opposite. They were overwhelming. Eventually, I managed to clear the place. The entrance was blocked by vegetation, so I used a nearby flame to ignite my arrows and burn the vines, clearing the way. Inside, I found a new plate helmet, and as I reached the top, I found something stranger, something called a visione. It was a helmet that allowed me to see memories from the past. It looked like I was inside the Matrix or something.
What you're looking at is a memory. Enjoy the visione to the fullest.
I made sure to grab every item I could. I was surprised how I could actually loot almost every single thing in front of me. Once outside the tower, I used the visione again and saw a memory of someone trying to climb the tower and... I gave it a try myself, but I didn't have enough stamina to reach the top yet. As I was leaving the place, I ran into the same kid from before. She said she had a reward for me, but then disappeared again. Instead, I had to follow her cat. It led me across rivers, rocks, and cliffs until arriving at a stone wall. There, I learned a new skill called Nature's Grasp. It let me lift and move heavy objects. I used it to move the massive stone wall and enter a new area, where I learned once again another skill, Focus. This slowed down time and let me regain spirit, which was basically mana. I then pushed the mechanisms on the wall in a specific way. Finally, I picked up the Abyss artifact nearby. The next day, I headed to Hernand Square. There was a group of knights talking about the Grey Maze. One of them, Matthias, challenged me to a duel.
I am the knight, Matthias. What reason have you to refuse my challenge?
None I can think of.
I hope you live up to the legends. Defend yourself!
I'm sick.
Tell me you're all. You did not disappoint me, Grey Mane!
Leave a couple together there.
It was an honor to duel him.
You're not bad yourself.
I had believed I was quite strong. It was a good match, Grey Mane.
After the duel, the Marshal of Hernand approached me, Barton Midler. He explained that the region was falling apart, with bandits running everywhere.
I believe they have a powerful benefactor pulling the strings.
But they had no proof. He asked for my help, and in return, the Lord might help me find my comrades and restore the Grey Maze. My mission was now to defeat some enemies around Springtide Mill. Before doing so, I spoke with the town butcher, who asked me to cook a fish dish. I went to a nearby cooking pot, read the recipe manually, and made the meal. I love how I could actually see the finished bowl in the end. I used some of the leftover fish to feed a small kitten nearby. After giving it a few pieces, I reached maximum trust, and it officially became my pet. The little guy would follow me everywhere now. I continued with the main quest, which involved dealing with the group of bandits nearby. After clearing them out, I checked the notice board for new missions. I started working on the new quests. The first one involved some stolen cows. The owner, Bremer, told me he had also lost his home after some kind of explosion. I first needed to speak with the witnesses. After paying some coin,
Follow me. I'll lead you to them.
he mentioned that the thing that destroyed Bremer's home was something that fell from the sky. We finally arrived at the location. People were already running away. I fought the bandits themselves. After clearing the area, I found a memory fragment I could watch with the visione.
It went completely mad and then died? Why even take that damn?
Forget it! We need to move!
After that, I realized I still had the broom in my inventory, and I could actually use it to sweep the floor. I loved small details like this. I could also use it as an actual weapon and swing it around. At one point, I even lifted a tree and discovered I could slam it into the ground. And this turned it into logs. We'll do some proper wood cutting later on. Another small detail I loved was being able to open and close my helmet visor whenever I wanted. Oh, I even fought some bandits using the broom, which was hilarious. Here I also realized I could dual-wield swords. While looting, I found a new armor set called Scarlet Blade's Cloth Armor. It acted as a disguise. That meant I could potentially blend in with the bandits. After everything, I returned to Bremer and told him his scouts were, well, dead.
I'm sorry.
I got some money as a reward and told him I would hunt down those responsible. The next morning, I continued onto the next quest. I met a man who told me some bandits cut his goat's horns. It seems the criminals were looking for some kind of rock. It had to do with the stone that destroyed Bremer's home. I went to track these thieves down. As I was leaving, a stranger stopped me and handed me a letter before walking away. It talked about keen senses. Here, I discovered the skill tree. Instead of gathering XP and leveling up, in this game, you unlock skills by using artifacts found in the world. What I really liked was that you could also learn abilities by observing others perform them. As I continued towards my objective, I came across a livestock fence. Here, you could actually sell stolen animals. There was also a merchant selling items like a disguised cloak, camouflage gear, and even a mask that would allow me to steal. The systems in this game just keep expanding, and that still happens later on, even dozens of hours in. Eventually, I found the bandits I was looking for. After dealing with them, I watched another memory. It showed them working for someone else, searching for a glowing rock they couldn't find. I returned to Ibano and told him about everything. With that, his quest was completed. The next mission involved finding a lost sheep called Wooly. I talked with William, a little kid who told me what happened. Eventually, someone pointed me towards a bandit camp across the river. With the area cleared, I rescued the ship and carried it back on my shoulder. I loved how I could still ride my horse while holding it. It was ridiculous. Unfortunately, the kid told me this wasn't Wooly. But the good news was that he mentioned a Greymane who offered to help. I eventually found the man. He was just a drunken man pretending to be a Greymane. He then led me to the ones responsible for stealing Wooly, the sheep. The trail led me into a cave. Inside, things got weird. There were multiple dead animals. Using the Visione again, I watched another memory. It seems the bandits were working with another faction. Something much bigger was going on. After clearing the cave, the townspeople were able to recover their animals and belongings. So, at least that was resolved. I spoke with some guards afterward, asking about the gold leaves. They seemed to be connected to everything, especially the stones falling from the sky. The guards told me the gold leaves had a branch outside the town. I had to pay that merchant guild a visit. The goblins said they had done nothing wrong.
Shaka 2 did everything in his power to stop him.
Turns out there was someone else behind everything. Right after this, I heard a nun crying and talking with some strangers.
Bandits are headed to the healer's house.
The same ones that were looking for the boulder that fell out from the sky. I rushed towards it, but it was too late. The cabin was on fire. The people told me there was someone trapped inside. The townspeople were really grateful. They told me that Hubert, the healer, had been kidnapped. I tracked the bandits to their camp, defeated every single one of them, and freed Hubert. He told me that the Gold Leaf Merchant Guild was being controlled by someone called Horn Splitter. According to him, there was a goblin named Shakatu who could set things right and bring peace to the guild. So I went to talk to him. The thing is, I was met by his soldiers, who were not super friendly.
I'm not here to fight.
Hold on, lads. If you come quietly, there won't be any trouble.
Big mistake.
Mistake?
Get him! Show me what you've got. I can reach it. Getting tired. Enough! My orders were that you be treated with respect.
He was nothing like the others, calm and reasonable. He explained that Hornsplitter had manipulated the guild, using it to chase power and artifacts for his own gain. If no one stopped him now, it would only get worse. Shagatu asked for my help, and in return, this could improve my standing with the lord of the region.
He'll offer the Greymane's land to rebuild.
I headed to the evil goblin camp and fought through waves of his minions, until challenging Hornsplitter himself.
Well now, the Greymane that's been meddling in my affairs.
You've been meddling with forbidden powers.
You lost your war, Northlander. No one can take it from me.
The leader finally fell, and Shagatu took the crown.
It is time I set things right. We will rebuild that trust and restore our good name.
I then approached Hornsplitter's body, picking up a small wooden talisman. Chapter 3: Howling Hail. This is where the game opens up. We will soon be getting our own camp and unlocking tons of new systems. A gold leaf merchant approached me, thanking me for what I've done. He also mentioned that someone claiming to be a Greymane had been spotted nearby. I needed to check it out. Before that, I now had unlocked Abyss gears. These are upgrades that can be embedded into equipment to enhance them. I figured it was time to spend some artifacts on new skills. So I unlocked a stab attack, an aerial stab, and the double jump ability. With that, I was able to do my favorite combo so far: double jumping and charging a stab from the air. It was amazing. After handing over some iron ore to Red's assistant, the blacksmith, I kept moving and mining along the way. Then I received a new message from a bird. It talked about Abyss gears, and it also pointed me towards a location on the map where I could learn more. So I decided to head there. This time, instead of riding all the way, I decided to teleport to the abyss and jump off from there. It was just too good not to do. I loved free falling. It actually makes you feel how big the world actually is. As I arrived at the cave, I found myself in the workshop of a witch. Here, I could create sockets in my items in order to insert abyss gears. I tried it out on my Glenmore sword by spending a few coins. I didn't actually have any abyss gears to use, but then I realized I had a new weapon called the Sword of the Lord, which came with some abyss gears already embedded, improving attack and attack speed. I could extract them at the workshop, but I preferred using the actual weapon for now. As I was mining some iron ore near a waterfall, I decided to just take a moment and sit down near the ledge, looking over the view. This is one of those games that feels alive, and you just enjoy being there, existing. I then went to meet the town's blacksmith, Tronali. His hammer was about to break, and he needed wood from the nearby forest. I offered to bring him some timber, so I headed out, where the woodworkers were doing their jobs. I joined them, chopping a tree, and once the trunk falls, you have to break it into smaller logs, and then break that into actual timber. It was pretty satisfying. On my way back, I ran into a man who needed help clearing off some bandits, who took a place called the Cusk House. Before taking care of that, I returned to the blacksmith and handed over the wood. He gave me a beggar shield, a refinement token, and some money in return. I used the token to refine the new shield. There was even a small cutscene showing the blacksmiths working. Later on, I ran into Jeffrey again, the bounty from earlier. This time, I managed to tackle him, tie him up, and finally turn him in. Finally, my first completed bounty hunt. Another thing that blew me away was when I discovered the bank. You can actually invest money and earn returns, but a permit alone cost 100 silver. A gold bar was 500 silver. I only had a 15, so yeah, investing would have to wait. The next day, I ended up finding Marius in town, another Greymane. He had broken a leg, he was barely able to walk. He said the others must have scattered, although Andrew and Naira were alive. I told him I was on my way to speak with Marquis Circus, the lord of this town, to seek help to rebuild our group back. Marius was excited. He went to tell Andrew and Naira about the good news. On my way to the meeting, this happened.
Oh, you're as civilized as a rock, aren't you? Wait!
Lock 'em up.
You know, we'll run out of cells at this rate.
With that done, I finally went to the Marquis's castle. A servant led me inside. Circus thanked me for having dealt with the Gold Leaf Guild situation, and he offered me an actual place to rebuild the Greymanes, somewhere called Howling Hill. After a long ride, we finally arrived, and there were already people working on the camp. I spoke with Midler, the marshal, who introduced me to Damien, a guest of the Marquis. He asked if she could stay with me, and just like that, I had unlocked a new playable character. This worked similarly to GTA 5, for example. You can swap characters on the fly. Damien used a rapier, and her attacks were really fast. She also had a special ability where a lightning strike came down from above. Her shield could also transform. It even worked as a glider itself, and she could also throw it. After that, I started helping around the camp, mining rocks, pushing a wagon full of hay, and carrying supplies into tents. Then I grabbed a mallet, a shovel, and started working. I actually had to swing the mallet and strike each and every single stake. I also carried some sacks across the camp to different areas. It reminded me of the chores you could do in your camp in Red Dead 2, and I loved that. Once everything was in place, I raised the banner and placed it on its stand. The camp was finally coming together. The bad news was, you can't actually play the main quests with Damien. You have to switch back to Cliff if you want to progress the main campaign. Next, I had to prepare food for the camp. I picked up a recipe for clear soup, but I was missing the ingredients: lentils, water, and tough meat. Before going out shopping, I checked out my new tent, which was a big upgrade. It had a proper bed and storage space. I also found other things like a grindstone and an anvil, which I could use to temporarily boost my gear. Also, the camp had a fast travel point. Here, I could see Hernand from the distance. While searching for the soup ingredients, I found a sealed abyss artifact. These required completing specific challenges to be able to spend them in the skill tree. One of them asked me to defeat 3 enemies without taking damage, for example. I found another one that required sliding down a slope for a certain distance. I really liked this system, instead of just mindless grinding of enemies like most RPGs. I ended up buying the ingredients at a shop in Hernand. What I really liked was that I could actually grab the items from the table physically, besides using the menus. Again, like Red Dead 2. While I was there, I also unlocked another fast travel point in the town. I spent some time getting to know more merchants, since they don't all appear on the map right away. Finally, I returned to Howling Hill and cooked the clear soup. I served it to the camp, and everyone gathered around the table. They really seemed to enjoy it. It was a really wholesome moment. The next day, I took care of a side quest by liberating the Blue Mont Cask House from bandits. And then I met with Marius again, telling him we finally had a camp of our own. We both got on my horse and headed back to Howling Hill. Once there, more Greymanes were back, Ross and Carl. Marius told me that Naira and Andrew went to escort some count, and word was, a drunken Greymane was locked up in a madhouse, a house of healing.
I really think one of us should go and look into it.
When I reached the place, I spoke with some woman outside, and they told me they weren't allowed in. Here I had the option to sneak in, use a disguise, or get an actual permit. I tried walking through the front entrance anyways, but the guards stopped me.
Someone's looking for trouble here!
You're a stubborn one.
If you want to go in, you need a pass.
What are you trying to do?
I'll find you. Kick you out myself.
I went around the building looking for another way in. That's when I found a shady man who offered me a deal, but he asked for 10 silver coins, and I didn't want to spend that much. So I decided to climb in from the rooftops instead, trying to be stealthy, staying up and away from the guards' eyes. Unfortunately, I got detected almost immediately. One of the guards even climbed up after me, which I didn't expect. Since that didn't work, I looked for other options. I found a back alley vendor selling disguises, but they were too expensive. So I tried sneaking once again. This time, I used the key to get inside the building from the back, but that didn't go well. At that point, I decided to talk to the shady guy, pay him the coins, and I got the disguise. The thing is, I got the great idea of getting my money back. So I followed him inside and tackled him to the ground. Immediately, I triggered the crimes and bounty tutorial, meaning I was a wanted man. As you can see, I already have a bounty of 11 silver, even though I'm pretty sure there were no other witnesses in the place. Since no other guards were around, I tried finishing the job that I just started, but every time I attacked the guy, the bounty kept going up until it reached over 41 silver. I couldn't even get my money back. Now the guards were chasing me and I had to escape and leave the area. Eventually I managed to lose them, but now I had a bounty on my head across the entire region. While trying to figure out what to do next, I stumbled upon a puzzle with a statue and a rotating mechanism for the floor. I tried my best to solve it. I spent a good amount of time, but I had no idea what to do here. Another common criticism for the game was the difficulty of the puzzles, but I sort of liked it, how there was no hand-holding at all. I decided to leave this one for later, since I had a mission to complete. I then tried using the new disguise I got. It worked perfectly. While infiltrating, a priest gave me a letter. It explained that I could clear my bounty by purchasing a writ of absolution at the church. I was able to walk around the place thanks to my disguise, but I found it funny that I was fully armed with a shield on my back and no one suspected a thing. At one point, I came across a fight between the guards and the patients. I stepped in to save them.
Jan? Cliff?
Jan was the Greymane I was looking for. I followed him as he explained what was happening. The priests were using some kind of strange helmet to mind control people. We ended up finding the overseer of this place, and Jan put the thing on his head.
Live an honest life, cunt knuckle.
Thank you. I shall live honorably.
Finally, we were free to escape. We hopped on a wagon away from this place. On the way out, Jan told me his story. He had survived the initial ambush, wandered around drinking and fighting until he ended up here. Eventually, we parted ways. He had some business to take care of before joining us back home. I spoke with Marius at the camp. There was no news about Neira or Andrew. He had a bad feeling about this. I told him I would look into it myself. Then another Greymane arrived, Dwayne, bringing a Black Bear Clan prisoner with him, tied up. Slowly, we were getting back together. But now, I needed to head to Glenbright Manor to find the others. On the way south, I came across a random house and decided to check it out. It had blood everywhere. I followed the trail, but then... I had no idea what was going on here. Eventually, I reached the manor, but the entrance was covered in corpses and blood. Something had gone very wrong. I hope Neira and Andrew were okay.
This is the end! The great bloodline ends today!
I went inside to investigate the place, which, again, was full of bodies. There was a hidden mechanism on the upper floor, hidden in a closet. As I turned it around, I was able to redirect light to a statue, finally opening a secret compartment. I looted a sapphire-set golden dagger. I love being able to find secrets like that. Looking further, I found a wounded servant lying on the floor.
What happened here?
It's the devil of the reed field. He has returned. Luckily, the Count and the Greymanes got away.
Do you know where they went?
Oh, over there, through the window. You have to hurry, before it's too late.
I used my lantern to reveal the trail, but I found the vision of a memory instead.
Mother, it wasn't me.
Oh, Phil, don't touch me. Stay back.
I told you to stay quiet in your room.
As I followed the tracks, I got ambushed again by the Reed Devil minions. They were pretty tough. Actually, I ended up dying. I tried it once more. Since I haven't been upgrading my equipment and I was heavily outnumbered, it took quite a while to defeat them all. But this time, I managed to get through them, thanks to all the healing items I was consuming, by the way. Finally, I found Neira and Andrew, the Greymanes that were missing.
Go! Kill that masked bastard!
Listen, Count. We've come to offer protection, not murder.
Andrew! Why so fearful, my dear Count? You look as if you've seen a ghost.
Kill him!
You begged for death when I'd have given it in time. Or you side with that demon. Neira! I'll take my leave for now. But I'll be back to claim your lives.
I needed to take care of this Reed Devil myself. I just realized I could see more options to interact with my horse if I pressed L1. I could actually pet it, which was amazing, and even open its inventory, where it showed its stats and trust level. As I rode through the mountains, I contemplated the beautiful view from there. But right after that, I got ambushed again. This time, there was even a giant among them. The whole way up was full of enemies. The Reed Devil itself appeared at one point, dropping in and out of combat. The whole thing was pure chaos. I kept pushing forward through wave after wave of enemies. Finally, I reached a massive open field. It was incredible. Before going further, I stopped at the bonfire to prepare. I cooked as much food as I could. There was also a grindstone nearby I was able to use, and even a chest full of ingredients. Then I discovered the ritual site with a strange doll. Some kind of weird particles flew from it. I followed them deeper into the field.
Take such a pitiful life as mine. Well, you're certainly not the first to try. Yet when the plague overtook me in my youth, my father saw me unfit for his noble name. Do you see me for what I truly am? Even if you did, it would make no difference. His words still hang like a noose upon me.
Die! How can such a creature claim to bear my noble blood? You are not even alive! Suffer off this mortal coil and honor our family with your death!
Impressive, but you still die by my hand. One way or another. Behind this mask lies unstoppable suffering.
Then I'll shatter it.
Kill this single form. But you cannot kill me. Stand and fight! The grudge born by this mask shall live on within every hate-filled heart.
I went to check on Andrew's condition. He was in pain, but recovering. Marius then told me he was trying to gather more news from Palun. We then were interrupted by Jan, who finally arrived at our camp. He was quite energetic.
Marius!
Jan! Oh, that tavern musk.
No Greymane need fear them again. I promise you. You know what? I'll hang every one of those bear bastards by their ballsacks!
First, why don't you sober up a bit?
After that, I talked with Marius again. He gave me a list of people who might be Greymanes themselves. I needed to look into them, see what I could find. My first objective was to investigate a sawmill near the Cold Vale workshop. Before leaving, I discovered the house near our camp. It was empty, but I could actually decorate it. It felt like the build mode from The Sims. It was strange that there was no tutorial or anything, but there will be later in the story. I didn't have much to place yet, so I left and continued on horseback. At one point, I used my sword to reflect sunlight and saw a glowing spot. When I got closer, I found two people tied up on their knees. There was no problem to interact with them, which was weird, and they seemed to be in pain. Somehow, by just bumping into them, they got free. One of them thanked me, and there was a notification saying I liberated Palunese refugees. Later, I reached the gold leaf merchant camp. One of the vendors was selling packaged traded goods, and what caught my attention was that I could see the price trends over time. The game had a full economy system. It's insane. We'll be taking a look into this later, selling goods and delivering wagons. Next, I ran into Shakatu again. He needed my help. He told me bandits had been attacking their trade routes, and he suspected there was a traitor within the guild. He wanted me to interrogate suspects while he investigated further. I checked the objectives, but since one of them was really far away, I decided to leave this for later too. I continued with the main quest, finally reaching the sawmill. There, I found Luke and Ronald, more Greymans that survived. We would meet back at the camp. Thanks to all the people we had been gathering, now I was able to send them on missions. Using the world map, I opened the camp interface and saw a full 3D view of the area. There was a mission to expand the camp, which required 2 members and some time. I selected Luke and Ronald and sent them on a quest. It would take about 18 hours to complete, so I decided to rest. I woke up the next day, but the mission was still in progress. So I went back to town to sell some of the items I had been hoarding. While walking around, I ran into one of my bounty targets, and I was actually forced to punch her, which was too much. I ended up turning her in. The funny part is that I still had a bounty on my head, but no one seemed to care. After this, I went to the back alley shop and bought a disguise cloak. Probably not the smartest financial decision, but I really loved the look of it. Back at the camp, I tried a new weapon, the spear. It had a completely different moveset compared to the dual swords. I liked it. I also spent some time doing simple activities like cutting wood and hunting around the camp. Eventually, the camp expansion mission was completed and a cutscene began. Everyone was gathered together, eating, talking, and just enjoying the moment. It was a really wholesome scene. Chapter 4. The price of knowledge. Everyone was hungover from yesterday, sleeping, snoring, when all of a sudden, I needed to investigate that explosion. Before leaving, I took some time to walk around the newly expanded camp. I actually felt like we were properly settled now. It reminded me a lot of Red Dead 2. I set off to find the source of the explosion. I used one of the sky islands to freefall directly into a tower and ended up stealing some decorations from the rooftop. I figured I could sell them or even use them to decorate the house I found earlier. When I arrived at the source of the explosion, I found some dwarves arguing. One of them decided to quit, leaving the one with the helmet alone. He was in charge of the kilns here. Apparently one had exploded and he needed help repairing it. So I started working on it. I first had to align some symbols to activate an ancient generator. Then I connected a cable and turned the kiln on. You could see fire coming out of it. There were 2 others I needed to take care of. One I had to put back up piece by piece, and the other I had to refuel. I used some electric spheres scattered around. Some were a bit hidden, but overall it was a fun puzzle to do. Once everything was fixed, the dwarf thanked me and said he would reward me with a pot, but I had to actually wait for it to be ready. Like, literally. After a few days, it was done. Tons of vapor came out of the kiln, alongside a cuckoo pot. At first, I had no idea what it was for, so I went to speak with another dwarf. He explained that it was a kind of magical container that could hold objects regardless of size or weight. I tested it by placing a large spherical object inside. I thought it was something like infinite storage, but it wasn't. It only worked to store specific abyss objects. After that, I returned to camp. Dwayne showed up and told us that Yan had been taken prisoner in the fighting pits, so we headed out immediately. On the way, I got told the full story. Yan had gotten drunk, interrupted a match, and refused to pay for the damages, so they locked him up. When we arrived, the guards offered a deal. One of us could fight in his place, in compensation for the losses. So, I entered the arena. I found it funny that it actually looked like a fighting game, with the health bars on top. For some reason, I got disqualified for using an illegal move, but I'm still not sure what I did. I tried again and it happened once more. It wasn't very clear what I was doing wrong, so it was frustrating. The third time's the charm. I even managed to win 3 matches in a row. With that, they agreed to release Yan. I brought him back to camp. Then he mentioned that Neira had been talking about an archery contest. He couldn't participate because of his injuries, so he suggested that I go in his place. I spoke with Carl before leaving. He said there was a shortage of hide at the tannery, and since we had some to spare, helping them would earn us trust. I also spoke with Marius, who mentioned a group of possible Greyman survivors and marked their location on my map. Next, Ross asked me to look into bandits harassing the apothecary. Finally, Ronald wanted to build a supply board for the camp. He needed timber, which I already had from earlier, so I handed it over. I checked the mission dispatch system and found several options. One of them involved state security and offered a good reward, so I set Luke and Ronald on it. It would take around 18 hours to complete. After that, I spoke with Carl again and got a tutorial about provisions management. I could donate items like gear, materials, or food to improve the camp's stats. It also allowed me to store and package trade goods for transport. I decided to continue with the main quest and went to speak with Neira. She told me about an archery contest and how Dwayne had embarrassed himself trying to win it, so he asked me to participate for him. On the way, I spoke with a noble who was planning to rebuild Bremer's house to improve the Duke. He needed manpower, which meant I could assign my companions later, but for now I focused on the contest. I participated in the archery challenge and managed to win once. It was a pretty fun minigame, but it got pretty hard once I was on my 3rd consecutive match. I failed that one. After this, Dwayne suggested we should look for work in town since we were running low on money. Before heading out, I returned to camp where I saw Andrew and Neira arguing. It seems she wanted to take care of a puppy, and he believed it wasn't a good idea given the kind of life we lived. I rode out to town with her. We ran a few errands for Carl, including buying meat for the camp. The big problem was that I was still wanted in town, and I feared the guards would attack me on sight. I had to be careful while moving through the place. At one point, a man ran past me and handed me a letter before disappearing. It mentioned the Skullstone Institute, a place dedicated to knowledge but closed off to outsiders. Apparently, I would need a disguise to get in. While walking around, I also found a noble looking for help building a statue, another task I could assign to my companions. There was a lot going on. Eventually, I managed to sneak into town, buy the meat without getting caught. With that done, I went back to Neira, and she showed me the puppy. She asked me to take care of it, and I couldn't resist. So I fed the little guy some meat and adopted him. The next morning, I could actually see the dog roaming around the camp, along with my cat. I love being able to have multiple pets around. Then I found a letter from Yan. He said he had a plan to make a fortune by stealing valuables from a bandit wagon. He told me to meet him at the Anvil riverbank. At this point, there were so many different quests that it felt overwhelming, so I ended up spending some time just chopping trees. There was a camp mission that required delivering 250 pieces of timber. By the way, expanding the camp unlocks a lot of important systems later on. There are some specific quest lines I recommend you to do because you'll get access to a farm, a ranch, and even getting access to a permanent wagon. I spent about 2 full days just cutting trees non-stop to make it feel more immersive. immersive. I even took off my armor and wore normal clothes while doing it. It actually felt pretty relaxing. Later on, I actually learned that you can send your men to gather wood, which is much more efficient than doing it yourself. I went to check in with Ross, and it looked like my companions had completed several missions. Our camp now had around 3,800 coins. I tried assigning them to build a statue at the Nass River fishing dock, but that required 3 members and I only had 2. So instead I sent them on a farming mission to gather more food for the camp. At the same time, I went to Carl to donate the timber I had collected, completing the 250 milestone. The next one was 1,000, so yeah, you actually should send your people to gather wood themselves. Since we needed more people at the camp, I decided to follow a rumor at the Hills of No Return. Apparently, a group of Greymans had gathered there. On the way, I stopped at the saddlery where I could buy equipment for my horse. I picked up some horseshoes which improve stamina regen. I also saw that I could buy new horses with different stats, but I decided to stick with my boy, the one I already had. As I kept heading north, I started experimenting with some mechanics I had seen online. For example, you can walk up to a wagon and hide underneath it. There are even stealth games that don't have this kind of stuff. Also, the fact that there was no tutorial about this, and so many other things, was baffling to me. During the trip, I kept finding sealed abyss artifacts scattered around the world. I also came across a strange type of ore that triggered a really weird visual effect when I approached it. At some point, I reached Sebastian's house, the man who rescued me at the beginning. There was a letter waiting for me, thanking me for helping stabilize the region and allow him to move on with his life. It was a small detail, but it felt really wholesome. I decided to rest there for the night, right next to a bonfire. As I continued my journey, I came across a quarry that had been taken over by bandits. I decided to try and clear it out, freeing some prisoners in the process. Even after defeating a group of enemies, I noticed the stronghold still had tons of combat power, and it would slowly regenerate over time. I thought maybe this was meant to be tackled later with my companions. There was even a mission to recapture it, allowing me to bring up to 10 men, so I decided to leave it for now. I hopped on my horse and continued searching for the Greymans. Eventually, I reached the location and found Jan already there. More comrades joined us, quite a few of them. On my way back, I cleared another abandoned cabin, liberated more refugees, and found a wolf tracker helmet. It came with a special ability that allowed me to detect animal tracks. On day 24, Marius received more reports of Greymans nearby. The next lead pointed towards a cook near Glen Bride Farm. As I set off to find them, I stumbled upon a strange location. I triggered the vision showing horn splitter guards searching for some kind of hidden weapon. I was able to push the wall, revealing a secret chamber. Moments like this are exactly why I love this game. Inside, there was a large dragon statue embedded into the wall. At the center of the room, there were mechanisms I could rotate. I assumed they needed to be aligned. I couldn't find any hints. I spent a good amount of time trying to figure it out, rotating everything in different ways, but I just couldn't solve it. I decided to leave it for now and continue with my objective. I stopped by the Toadsmith Tannery and delivered 5 hides as a gift from the Greymans. They were really grateful, which helped build trust with the locals. After that, I managed to learn a new skill while fighting a group of goblins. It let me jump over enemies and chain movements together. It was really fun to do. They also dropped a piece of loot called the Crude Devil Mask. It came with another special ability called Poison Mist, which stunned enemies in place. But the mask disabled my hood and I honestly preferred my original look. Finally, I reached my objective and reunited with more Greymans. I also sold the goblin masks I had collected, which gave me a decent amount of money. For the first time, I had over 70 silver coins. Marius was happy to see more of our people returning. He mentioned even more sightings out there. The group was continuing to grow. A tutorial popped up about mission dispatch, explaining that I needed to secure resources to keep the camp running. After that, I talked with Carl again and unlocked a new mission to gather timber through the sawmill. Instead of manually chopping trees, I could now assign companions to handle it for me. So I donated some funds and selected 2 Greymans with logging skills to send them on a mission. I wanted to send more people to the quarry to gather stone, but I couldn't. The area was still under enemy control. To even attempt taking it back, I needed to provide better gear for the camp. So I donated everything I could. Armor, weapons, anything. Once I met the requirements, I sent a squad. While they were busy, I took a walk around the camp. I noticed Ronnie, the new cook, was already set up, selling ingredients and recipes. This place was starting to feel alive. I also met Bryce, the wagon master. When I spoke with him, it showed that I didn't own any wagons yet. I was wondering how to actually unlock them. After resting, I checked the quarry again. Strangely, nothing had changed. The next day, I followed new rumors about the Greymanes, this time heading northwest. I followed the lead and eventually found them. Now with more numbers, I sent all of them to recapture the quarry. Maybe this time it will actually do something. I kept exploring the world while Dad was working in the background. At one point, I found a helm inside a Hernandian guard tent. It was called the Helmet of Ignition. Its ability was to light nearby bonfires. Bit random, but okay. I loved the look though. It had a steampunk vibe. I spent some time just standing on a cliff, looking out at the view. The scale of this game is incredible. I spotted a distant tower in the snowy mountains, and I decided to just go there and see what happens. I set out towards the mountains, climbing higher and higher, carefully choosing paths, managing stamina, and dealing with the terrain. This was one of my favorite parts of the game, going on a trip, having no idea what I could find. I came across a cabin which had a field computer and a lab inside. I went into first-person view to take a proper look at it. It had so many little details. I had no idea what was going on here. Using the Visione, I watched the memory of a scholar.
I can never escape Marnie's watchful gaze. But once this is finished, I'll finally be free of the great Marnie. I'll name it the Hacking Helm.
I grabbed this hacking helm and equipped it immediately. Its ability allowed me to hijack enemies. What even is this game? As I continued towards the tower, the environment started changing. Snow began to fall, the temperature dropped, and my stamina bar turned blue. Ice formed around the edges of the screen, and it became harder to move. Eventually, I reached the tower. But when I got closer, I realized I couldn't enter. The gate required an item I didn't have. I even tried climbing, but the cold drained my stamina too quickly. Maybe this is a late game area. At least I unlocked a fast travel point nearby. I ended up heading back to camp and checked on the quarry again. That's when I noticed something interesting. The combat power had been lowered just slightly. It was like a gradual process. The next day, the construction project was finished. So I went to meet with the NPC and report that the work was done. Next, I went to speak with Eric and tell him the job was finished too. He said the Lord was pleased and wanted to introduce me to someone important, Leon Robert. This man said that bandits had taken over his family's quarry and he needed me to clear them out. It was the same place I was trying to recapture myself. Right next to him, I noticed a door and decided to check it out. I found what looked like a medieval safe, some kind of strongbox with a puzzle mechanism. Surprisingly, I managed to solve it and actually open it. There was something inside, but I couldn't interact with it at all. No matter how I positioned myself, there was no prompt. I even tried using a bandit mask, but nothing happened. It was strange. Not sure if it's tied to a quest or just bugged. I decided to recapture the quarry myself. When I arrived, this happened. This enemy was a mechanical construct called Marnie's Excavatron. I equipped the hacking helm to see if I could use it. It didn't seem to do anything, so I just fought it the old-fashioned way. With the boss defeated, I got a new weapon, a mining knuckle drill. It was sort of a mechanical arm, again with that steampunk style. I tested it on some enemies, it looked brutal. The downside was that it was too slow and clunky for group fights, probably better suited for mining. I proceeded to clear the place up. It was absolutely packed with bandits. At one point, I accidentally hit an explosive barrel and blew myself up. Thankfully, I had an item that let me revive instantly, so I used it and kept going. I spent a long time fighting. By the end of the session, I had brought it down to around 36%, still some ways to go. I opened the game again after a recent update, and the camera was back to the default position, pretty high and far away. The thing is, this update added new camera settings. If you go into the options menu and check the accessibility section, you can now adjust things like camera distance and positioning. The thing I didn't like was that whenever I stopped moving, the camera would zoom in and then pull back when I moved again. So I installed the updated version of the mod I was using. It feels much more immersive in my opinion. I recommend you check it out. I was on my way back to the quarry when I stumbled upon an ancient ruin. As I stepped inside, the ground suddenly collapsed and I fell into a dark underground area. Here I found an abyss artifact and eventually made my way back to the surface. After that, I returned to the quarry to continue clearing it. While fighting the bandits, I noticed something. I didn't realize until now, but sometimes when I hit them, parts of their armor actually flew off and I could pick them up. It's a small detail, but I loved it. I also learned that to speed up the process, you can destroy specific structures in the area. Picking them apart was so satisfying. I spent the entire day and night destroying everything and fighting the bandits. It was chaotic, but so fun. By the end of it, I had fully liberated the quarry. I went to speak with Eric, who asked me to help move a massive rock using a crane. I first had to grab a handwheel and move an elevator myself, going all the way up. At the top, I entered the control room, where I could operate the crane. It seemed like it had full physics and everything. I had to carefully position the thing in the right spot. It took a bit of trial and error, but I managed to grab a huge cube-shaped relic. The task was finished. I returned to Hernand to speak with Leon Roberts. He was happy that I helped clear the place, and thanks to this, I could now send my companions to work there, which I did. Since the quarry mission was finished, I moved on to the next camp quest. Luke told me about an old abandoned house that could be turned into proper lodging with a bit of work. He prepared the flower basket to fix the awful smell of the place. When I got there, I realized it was the empty cabin I had found earlier. This time, it actually triggered the proper tutorial. I was introduced to the home decoration system, and I placed the flower basket on the only table in the house. After talking with Luke again, I got a notification explaining that I could buy furniture from shops. The next objective was to expand the camp. After donating some of my money, I sent my companions to it. In a matter of days, it was done. Now we had unlocked the quartermaster at the camp. I could buy weapons and armor directly from him, so I picked up a new longsword. Of course, I gave it a try. It felt heavier and more grounded. I really liked it. After that, I did some more recruiting missions. They can feel quite repetitive since they're just fetch quests, and the Greymans felt pretty generic, but here comes the important bit. On day 34, thanks to all the camp missions I was doing, I was able to speak with Camus, who wanted to start a farm at the camp. He suggested I visit a nearby farm and learn how things worked. The objective pointed me towards Glenbright Farm, so I went there, but turns out I actually had to send a dispatch mission instead. Since I was already there, I met with more Greyman survivors. Once I was back to camp, I sent them on the apple picking mission. With that done, I was finally able to start building a farm at the camp. There was a problem though. It required 10,000 copper. I went to speak with Ben in the meantime, who was thinking about setting up a ranch at the camp. I sent my companions on a dispatch mission to make the preparations. I also dispatched others on estate missions to generate passive income for the camp. After a couple of days, we managed to accumulate over 10k. So I built the farm first. It finally felt like the camp was turning into something much bigger. Camus started teaching me how to cultivate crops. To better immerse myself, I decided to take off my armor and use some comfortable clothes. Now I was with my good dog, just planting crops. I could even see the town in the distance. Pretty nice view. I started by planting apple seeds. In order to harvest them, I would have to wait a few days for them to grow. While exploring the camp, I ran into Conrad, who had set up a furniture shop in the camp. I actually bought some stuff from him and spent a good amount of time setting everything up at my place. I loved the fact that this was an actual thing you could do in the game. The place was slowly starting to look like a home. Sort of. It still needed a lot of work. Next, I focused on setting up the ranch. Once it was done, I spoke with Ben, who explained me the basics. The key was to keep the feed bins full and start bringing in animals so we could build up our own livestock. At first, the only animals I could buy were baby chickens. They were so tiny, just look at them. I could even pick them up. I placed some food in the feed bin and then went to check on the farm. The crops had grown, but they weren't ready to harvest yet. Still, seeing them develop over time was pretty cool. My next objective was to capture a wild goat. I went to the marked location and grabbed one quickly. I still still can't believe you can carry a full-grown goat while riding a horse. Anyways, I brought it back to the ranch. Some animals provide our resources daily, like milk, but then came the part I didn't really like. The quest told me to butcher the goat I just adopted. Why? I had to talk to Gunnar, who took care of it. Still, I felt a bit bad, but it was for the good of the camp. After that, I made sure to have more goats at the ranch. The baby one was so cute. I then spent a good amount of time doing some abyss platforming to unlock another fast travel point, and also finding more Greymans, growing our numbers. Back at the camp, the apple trees had finally grown, and I was able to harvest them at last. With that done, I had enough resources to expand the camp again. This was already the third expansion. After a couple of days, it was complete. I continued clearing bandit camps and building trust with Ben, who started selling baby pigs to me. I kept recruiting more people. This time, they were craftsmen, specializing in things like trinkets and dyes. Back at the camp, Marius marked even more locations on my map. I spent some time meeting the new members. One of them was selling stuff like rings and necklaces, but the best one was the barber. I finally could change my appearance. I could choose hairstyles, adjust the individual length of specific parts of the hair, dye it, and customize my beard. I could also modify tattoos, both on the face and body, or remove them entirely. I wish this had been available from the start, honestly. After that, I spoke with the dyer, who allowed me to change the color of my gear. Not every piece could be painted, and I needed specific materials and knowledge to unlock options. A shadow gray dye cost around 15 silver coins, which wasn't cheap for me. At this point, I could move on to the next camp expansion. The thing is, it required 100,000 coins. I only had around 36k, which wasn't even close. While searching for more Greymans, I stumbled upon a castle-like structure. Inside, there was a massive machine that I could interact with. It had a complex system with wheels, levers, and even written instructions. The entire place felt like some kind of factory. I tried figuring it out, turning mechanisms, experimenting, but eventually I just got lost. So I left. On the way back, I found 3 more Greymans. I went to the Hernand tavern to assess the gamblers there, which was a part of a request from Pierce. I sat down to play a game which had a full-on rule set, but I had no idea what was going on. Somehow, I still managed to win, and that was enough to complete the quest. While checking the journal, I also noticed all the different Greyman commissions available, which are really important to complete since they unlock more systems. You will see in just a bit. I started helping with more of these requests. Evelyn wanted to train people in archery, so I gave her the arrows she needed. Devon wanted to build a monument for the fallen. I kept working through these requests, helping wherever I could. Finally, I unlocked Bryce's request, the wagon master. This was something I had been waiting for. It was time to get a proper wagon. I needed to head to the timber turner Wainwright. When I arrived, I spoke with the dwarf who explained how the wagon could be built. I sent 10 of my companions to handle the construction. The next day, the wagon was finally finished. I returned to Bryce to report back. Now, I officially had a trading wagon. I was able to load some trade goods, for example, package lacquer. If you look closely, you can actually see the crates appear inside the vehicle. I set off towards a nearby gold leaf trading post to try selling them. I drove carefully all the way. The first trader I found was a black market seller, but he wasn't interested in buying what I had. So I kept going and found another trading post. Here I could see an option to sell my goods for around 140 copper coins, but when I tried, it didn't let me complete the trade. Not every trading post buys every type of good. Each location has specific demands, and you can check that directly on the map. At the same time, each location also sells specific items, and you can track price trends to see what's more valuable. For example, I noticed that packaged wool had a good price, so in theory, I could raise ship at my camp, produce wool, and sell it here for a profit. The problem is that the money from these trades goes to the camp, not to my funds, so it wasn't really worth it. I tried again with new goods, this time bringing something the trading post actually wanted, but when I attempted to sell it, I realized there was a minimum trade quantity. I needed at least 25 units to make the trade. So instead, I went back to the black market trader and sold unpackaged goods directly, getting money straight to my pockets. Honestly, I wish the wagon had more utility. I decided to focus on improving the Greymane's camp. I spoke with the quartermaster and he gave me a task to acquire a long sword from the blacksmith in Hernand. So I went into town, bought the sword, and while I was there, I picked up a plate helm because it looked pretty cool. Then I returned to camp and handed over the weapon. Ronnie, the camp's cook, needed marble meat to prepare a dish. So I went to Hernand's butchery, bought what I needed and brought it back to him. Next, I talked with the camp's blacksmith. He asked me to catch a specific fish, a leopard perch. The problem was that the location was in a completely different region, the Menace. I wasn't sure if I wanted to leave Hernand yet, since there was still so much to do here. Before doing anything, I checked the camp funds and realized I had over 100k copper coins. I dispatched my people to begin the expansion. It would take a few days to complete, so while waiting, I kept exploring and found more Greymans to recruit. At one point, I ran into a strange creature I had never seen before. It looked like a living rock covered in vegetation. I fought it and managed to kill it, but it made me realize how much more there was to discover in this world. Later, I found a fast travel point guarded by smaller versions of the same creature. This time, I couldn't damage them with my sword. I had to use Force Palm to remove their outer layer and grab some kind of cell within. At one point, I tried buying something at the contribution shop in Hernand, but I wasn't allowed to since I was a one-time man. So before doing anything else, I went to the church and cleared my bounty at last. With that done, I gave the shop a proper look. It used contribution tokens, not money, which were rewards for helping people around town. There were a lot of items available, including armor, cloaks, and even gear for my horse. Some of them were really expensive though. I ended up buying a Hernandian honor guard cloak. While roaming the open world, I found a hidden treasure map. I love this kind of stuff. It's just a drawing on a piece of paper and I have to figure it out myself. No hand holding. Nearby, there was also a memory I could watch. It was about a monster called the Stag Lord. I had no idea what to do, so I decided to move on. I continued searching for more Greymanes, focusing on bringing in new recruits. After the latest camp expansion, I could really see the camp changing. My companions were actively training, practicing combat on their own. I spoke with Winston, the provisioner, and he asked me to deal with the Gold Leaf Guild to secure better trade deals directly with them. So I traveled there, talked with the merchant, and everything went smoothly. I then gave some leather to one of the Greymanes who needed it to improve armor. Next, I reached 100 trust with William, the kid who lost the sheep, which let me buy lambs at my ranch. It was so tiny, and I could carry it around with one hand. So cute. But after that, I noticed one of my companions training at the new archery range. Just by watching him, I learned a new skill, charged shot. I noticed another detail that really stood out. Some of the Greymanes had sent on missions were actually visible in the open world. For example, Luke was working on building a statue. Then I saw some of my companions patrolling as guards. Next, I spoke with Conrad, the furniture merchant at the camp. He wanted to build proper beds for everyone, but to do that, we needed knowledge from a scholar at the Scholarstone Institute. Before heading out, I checked the mission dispatch system and noticed a mission related to something called a cloud cart. I sent some companions to handle it. After a while, I got a notification saying a new mount had been registered. I tried to figure out how to spawn it, but from what I searched online, at least at the time of this recording, it seemed to be bugged. On my way to the Scholarstone Institute, I came across a puzzle that required stepping on specific stone platforms in the correct order. I couldn't solve it. I suck at puzzles. By the evening, I finally reached the Scholarstone Institute and found the scholar I was looking for. He taught me how to craft a proper bed. I returned to Conrad with the info. Thanks to that, I unlocked a new item, a cozy sanctuary bed. It looked pretty cool, but it was expensive, around 17 silver coins. Some Greymane commissions sent me outside Hernand, but I didn't want to leave yet, so I decided to focus on secondary quests nearby. I spoke with the noble who rewarded me for a bridge I had helped build earlier. While checking my inventory, I also found a book, and I love that I could manually flip through each single page. I don't know, I like stuff like that. I also handed over some rosemary to the dyer, which was part of another request. While exploring, I ran into an isolated patient gathering herbs. It was an open world dynamic event. She told me she had been attacked by a beast and lost everything, and asked me for help to recover the herbs. Turns out this was a setup.
This will
over your grave!
I was ambushed by Reed Devil minions. Thankfully, I was able to deal with them easily. After that, I went to Sunset Valley, the town where the woman came from. Everyone here had their heads covered, since they were enduring some kind of illness. I spoke with a healer and told them one of our Greymans, the barber, wanted to help there by giving them haircuts, and they accepted. Here, I also found the bounty target. I managed to tackle him and also learned that I could load him onto my horse. I had to make a full trip back to Hernand. Took a while, but I eventually turned in the bounty. The next quest involved helping a peasant who asked me to clean up after her pigs. Yes, I had to literally use a shovel and dig feces.
Oh, I think I'm going to be sick. You should really clean yourself up by the river.
I kept doing more side quests around Hernand. At one point, I spoke with a young monk searching for a mysterious mushroom, but as I was exploring, I seemed to got hit by something and collapsed to the ground.
Oh no, did we? No, I don't think. Let's move then.
Then it happened again. Actually, multiple times. It was so frustrating. At one point, I got a new objective to speak with someone called Shy. It was a kid.
You were just kicked out, right? I'll show you how to get into the town, but you have to help me first. Something precious of the chief's was stolen and put on my friend's head. I need to get it back before the chief notices. But he just won't stay still.
On his head?
Yes, on his head. I don't know who did it, but they're in trouble when I find out. Can you help me, please? Will my friend should be... Oh, there he is. Come on, follow me.
Right after that, I got hit again. I was definitely missing something. I later figured out that these kids were the guardians of the Potorin forest. And around the same time, I noticed my horse was barely moving. Turns out it was exhausted, injured, basically. So I used Force Palm to heal my horse, which I found ridiculous. While exploring further, I came across some ruins with a chest locked behind iron bars. Stuff like this is where the game actually excels at. Turns out I had to activate some fire lamps nearby to open it. Inside, I found a leather cloak worn by the Reed Devil boss. I could fully equip it with even animations for putting on the hood. There were some weapons laying around nearby, and one thing I loved was how interactable everything was. I broke crates and found things like oats and beans inside, but then I found a lab setup where I could pick up almost everything on the table. When I destroyed a crate, every single bottle inside dropped individually, and I could loot each one. I eventually found a kid from before, and they asked me to retrieve an item from the head of a giant tree roaming near Trembling Gorge. This area had an incredible view. After searching for a while, I found it. This was easily one of the most incredible moments so far. It gave a strong Shadow of the Colossus vibes. As I explored the area, I ran into a new group of enemies called the Righteous Inquisitors. They had different colored armor, and some of them even used firearms. They were way too strong, and I had no chance fighting them, so I had to run. I went back to the kid and completed the quest. They were grateful, and now I could finally enter their village without getting knocked out to the ground. I captured a nearby bounty, and on my way to turn it in, I came across a group of kids who asked for help about an adventure journal. Then, out of thin air, they disappeared. I spoke with another one nearby, and they told me to look for the missing children. I received the traveler's log, and when I opened it, I could flip through each page and see different locations marked on it. Multiple quest locations appeared on my map. The problem was that they were all extremely far away, spread across regions like Palun, the Menace, and even the Crimson Desert itself. It really showed how massive the world was. While I was still in the Potodin forest, I checked the local mission board and picked up a few side quests. I also found a new merchant, a race I hadn't seen before that looked like a humanoid cat, who specialized in dyeing clothes. After that, I returned to Hernand and turned in the bounty. I reported back to Shakatu soldier that the outlaw had been delivered. Then I spoke with the mother of the man who had been falsely accused. She thanked me for what I've done. From now on, I made sure to do as many side quests from the area as possible. For example, I talked with Prox, a gold leaf merchant dealing with counterfeit goods. He had gathered the list and he asked me to deliver it to the investigator in charge. Of course, I went to meet him and delivered everything. I spoke with another gold leaf merchant who was having trouble with bandits stealing their goods. He asked me to deliver the message to the guild house, which I did. I kept picking up more posts from the local mission board. One of them involved Bruna at the saddlery, which led me to a series of places I had to go to. One thing I didn't realize was that at the Potodin village, not only there were a lot of side quests, but the highlight of this place was the pet tailor shop. There, I could buy outfits for both my dog and my cat. The amount of customization was amazing. My favorite one was the little kitty outfit. This whole place was amazing. I kept doing more side quests around the village and spent most of my time here, building trust with the kitties and the dogs at Hernand. This was pretty much my life now. And this was just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more out there. Our journey was just beginning.